Well, let's hold off going back down there. Two-headed ogre and a centaur warrior, not the best company to keep for an early and poor little adventurer like ourselves. Wait, did we not find? We found lair. Why do you not know how to get there? Was it in like one of my giant exclusion zones? Ah, no, it's just surrounded by mushrooms, of course. Always forgetting about the conspiracy of the fungi plot. But there we have it. Let's see how we handle our first venture down into lair here, shall we? Hopefully it goes better than it did for Tengu. It's a bit of an interesting mix-up where we're going to be slightly better off in some ways, but struggling without the ability to slow down all of our new reptile friends. So hopefully we can just output enough damage that it doesn't become too much of a risk here. Very excited to see what that robe does as well. If it's a good one, then we definitely need something to swap into here. So we get absolutely surrounded by all these sons of guns. And in fact, waited too many turns before taking some precautionary measures. So let's read a teleport. Now we just have to stay alive for a few turns. I guess I could have used a fear scroll probably instead of the teleport, then killed everything as it retreated. Let's do some number crunching. 12 damage each. So that's 36 plus another potential 40. I don't know what you, but 76 damage on 60 health. Not great in my books. I think I will read one fear scroll, try and kill some of them in the ensuing chaos before we teleport, that is. And we'll just hopefully be able to situate into that fight in a slightly more manageable position next time. This is technically it, actually. This is more manageable. I was worried for a second that I was just made to eat my own words, but definitely better than it once was, if not best by any stretch. And what's the most prudent move for taking care of all of you folks, hey? Maybe some piercing damage. Let's throw out one corrosive charge at the very least, and then the rest of this crew should be able to be taken care of the old-fashioned way. Maybe not so much, so we'll read one more teleport. Take me away. Let's see, how do I reinitiate this fight safely? We don't do well against the hordes that kind of envelop us like this, because unfortunately we just lose spots rather for our foxfires. And of course we don't exactly have the defensive capabilities to take on the world as of yet. So maybe we will just train some dodging temporarily in the back end here. We can even focus it down. Need some recourse for when these fights don't go our way. Ideally we get a situation like this though, where we can actually use Fireball to take care of more than one enemy at once, and we get offered Fulminant Prism from Behemoth, so once again we will learn that right away here. Potentially even use it this time around, wouldn't that be nice? And not too bad here. Foxfire is definitely starting to fall off here. This is about the time where we have to worry about it. Fortunately, we're not dealing with like too many fire-resistant enemies. But we definitely do want to start using that Fireball a little bit more liberally, I think. We even have slightly better magical reserves to actually get away with a plan as such, so it's definitely not a bad idea, keep in mind. And now we get to see what this robe does. I mean, I could use some positive energy, sure, let's throw that bad boy on. Maybe not exactly what I was hoping for, what I was desperately wishing we'd get, but that's fine. Ooh, and we get a Staff of Fire. We're already at 100% power with the Foxfire, but Fireball could get a heck of a lot stronger. From 24% 3d11 to 32% 3d14. So another 12 damage added on the max end of that range. It's something, I guess. It's not like our dagger is doing a whole lot of work regardless, so it's not a bad idea. And that should be just about it. Let's read that ID scroll we picked up. The amnesia scrolls might come in handy as we continually learn and relearn spells here. And we get the Amulet of Oherphus, Acrobat and See Invisible. Acrobat is actually pretty nice for Tengu, because we'll be running away a lot trying to take advantage of our slightly faster than average move speed. Getting some extra dodge added on top of that, beautiful. And See Invisible is almost a godsend after what we witnessed at the start of today's stream, because oh boy, those invisible enemies were handing our butts right back to us. +3 Lagitang this early on? That's very tempting to try and use. It means we can't ever get a shield, which means it's not necessarily my favorite idea. Oh no, Torpor Snail and Dream Sheep? Not like this. Please, not like this. Let's just back up. And then we can potentially take out the sheep as they wander in. The snail themselves is going to be a bit of a nightmare, but you all we can handle. Give me more flames, and last but not least, Dagger of Venom. There we go. Probably should have listened to that little voice inside my head that was going off when we first saw the snail, which is exactly what I potentially even said out loud, that the snail alone is a bit of a tough fight. Never know how it's going to go, and yet here we are, still trying to face tank it at the end. Ended up working out, so I can't complain too much, but maybe not the most ideal way forward. And let's resort to this fireball slightly more often, shall we? Look at that good work. We do have to keep in mind that the flip side of the extra firepower is that we'll be making a heck of a lot more noise down here. But as long as that's in the back of our minds, we should be okay. Oops, didn't mean to start a fire there. I was trying to do fireball. There we go. You met at Spider Invisible Enemies that drain stats. What were they? Those are the ghost moths, I believe. Have a stat drain effect available to them, and also drain all your magic. Those are a tough encounter, to say the least. You were a ghoul, so it could have been malmutated instead of stat drain as well. No, I do think that the ghost moths can stat drain you. I might be misthinking something, misremembering, or crossing some wires. In which case, of course, anybody in chat, definitely shout out the correct answer. But that sounds like a ghost moth piece of shenanigans to me. And yes, they're one of the rougher enemies that you can face down in Spider, to say the least. I guess in Old Spider. Now with New Spider in 0.28, running into bands of Meliai could very well be the scariest thing you have to encounter, depending on what kind of character you're running. Don't paralyze me, please. In fact, let's take you upstairs. Huh, Basilisk, you deal way more damage than I thought you did. That's rough. Also, how much money do I have? I should go buy the Hat of the Bear Spirit. I'm out of my mind. What am I doing with my life? Well, now we have to survive this fight, if just so that we can experience that wonderfulness. Let's light you on fire. Oh, I was turned to stone there. I thought I had one more turn, but managed to kill them, and we hit the next pivot piety where we gain the extra range off of Vehement, which is a fantastic ability, to say the least. Not too shabby. But before we continue on, let's run back up to this shop here. That seems like it might be smart. just lose the extended range, of course, because we waste some time not showing favor to the big spellbook in the sky, but that's fine. The Spirit Guardian is the only part of this that is potentially a little bit rough. It's nice having the extra health. We have to keep in mind that in order to cast our spells, we can't take too much damage, otherwise we're going to be in trouble. But definitely worth it just for the extra AC, along with the resistances that are afforded. Plus, probably gets a little bit chilly deep down in the dark dungeon, you know? It can be nice to have some access to that. Why do we have unexplored stairs here? What was on this floor again? Herald. Right. Right. And we just walked through the area before without even thinking about it. Let us instead go to this stair. That seems smart. Okay, it is the Ghost Moth. I thought so. Thanks, Ninth, for confirming that. With poison immunity, there wasn't much interest in spiders. You didn't pay that much attention. Could have saved some stats if you paid some more. That's always the risk and danger inherent in this game. That's when it truly gets you, is when you spend even a moment not paying full attention. Okay, Cato Plebis, you do 36 damage. We can potentially kill you in a couple more blasts. I think I will take you upstairs. Oh, I cast the wrong spell. Whoops. Well, lucky we didn't take a boatload of damage in the meantime. Otherwise, that would have been exceptionally embarrassing. And instead, we can just use this nice wide open space to run away. Every time Fireball comes back up, or we get enough magic for Fireball rather, we'll definitely pop that bad boy down. But otherwise, this is our life now. This is the only reason why Cato Plebis isn't an exceptionally scary and dangerous fight for this character. Unless I do that. No, I'm not getting turned to stone. Okay, I was in the calcifying dust for one more turn than I would have liked. Immediately got me into panic mode, but not too bad. Let us get one more fireball. And maybe we'll switch over to using some wand stuff here just to finish off the fight. We have the Ice Blast. So we should be able to do so without too much trouble. Don't you step on that teleport trap. Perfect. Thank you, friend. Oh, tabbing gets quickly into trouble. You're telling me. Feel like that's the equivalent to my mental state some of the days where I'm playing the game. Even if I'm talking things through and pretending to have a slightly more robust set of planning and forethought, generally I'm flying by the seat of my pants and just kind of doing whatever feels right. Which is not the best way to play the game. And somehow we've lost a bunch of Tengus to stupid mistakes recently. Couldn't possibly be a correlation between the two, but gotta be someone else's fault. Anyone's but mine, really. Gotta make sure you don't zig when you should zag. Exactly. All goes back to the idea that I've liked as of late, which is that Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup is a lot more like a marathon than a sprint. It's all about your ability to continually pay attention for the entirety of a run, because that will, of course, lead to less and less mistakes, or at least ideally. Just toss a bunch of fireballs, start a forest fire probably, which I maybe should have thought about before doing this. I'm so sorry, Lair. Oh, no one tells Smokey. Hey, Sedge. Nice to see first time chatter around. Am I going to play in the tournament? I will indeed be playing in the tournament. We were just talking about that early in the stream here. Probably going to be putting together a clan, depending on the interest from viewers. Might have to do a draw for membership, or we can just take, you know, if there are just 6 people who are interested, then we'll just join forces together like that. But in general, I'm not only going to participate in the tournament, I'm very excited to participate in the tournament. Had a whole lot of fun with the last one, so hoping to be able to do the same over on this time around. I guess to that extent, anybody and everybody who has any interest in joining the clan, definitely let me know just so I have an idea of whether we should start doing some kind of lottery system, or if we can start just throwing down the invites willy-nilly. That would be fantastic, but very much looking forward to it. Had a lot of fun last time around. Somehow the only run that we won with in the last tournament was our Octopode of Zom. So that was wild, but pretty fun and awesome in its own right, and had a heck of a time. Even losing, I think our last run was a Formicid Berserker for Nemlik's Choice, and we got so close to making it out. Just died at the very end in Zot 5. But it was definitely a lot of fun all in all. So looking forward to doing the same, a reprise of sorts, with a new team. This time, not Riftling's Regrets, because that's what was topical last time. Maybe this time it'll be like the Curse of the Tengu, or something like that. That seems apt for me at the moment, at the very least. There should be a new banner because of Ignis. Ooh, that's true. And do I have a strat in mind? Not so much, besides just kind of get silly with it and have fun. I'm not too worried about win rate or anything like that. I usually ended up going for the Nemlik's Choice wins last time around, or points at the very least, because Nemlik's Choice I feel like was made for people like me. I'm bad at making decisions, and I like doing kind of weirder combinations every once in a while. So if you put both those together, it's just the absolutely ideal category for me to be attempting. So I guess that's part of the caveat of if anybody wishes to join the squad, is that you don't have to worry about pressure to perform or anything like that. Very much just looking to have a good time and chat about it and celebrate together in chat as well. I like the camaraderie that the clan system brings for the tournaments. Especially since for the longest time I did not experience that whatsoever, because I spent the majority of my time playing DCSS, not interacting with the community. It's only more recently, since I started streaming, that I realized how fantastic all the people are. But let's not actually train evocations. I probably will keep training fire magic a little bit. Let's get slightly more spell power kicking behind all of our punches here. And we can even take a quick peek. Could learn Ignite Poison. Have fully castable this time thanks to fire magic. There's not a lot of interest at our disposal right now anyway. Plus we do have the Dagger of Venom, so it's not technically useless. And that's the best kind of ability, ones that are technically not useless. But Fireball doing a heck of a lot of work for us thus far. Not too shabby here. Only 2 players got all banners in the last tournament. I'm honestly impressed and surprised that anyone can get all the banners. That's pretty incredible. Was it some of the mainstays? Like, I'm trying to remember. Is it Yermak? Yermak is one of the top contenders in every tournament. There are probably a bunch that I'm forgetting at the moment, but there are definitely some truly incredible DCSS players out there that boggle the mind. Same with like a lot of the victory streakers that get, you know, hundreds of victories in a row. Absolutely wild. Maybe not hundreds, plural. Can't remember what the last record was, but regardless, an impressive amount. Let's start some fires around this Hydra here, and then once they're out of the water, we should be able to outspeed them. Killing an 8-headed Hydra is always a lovely feat. It's very much like the 2-headed Ogre situation we were talking about earlier, where it can be a little bit sketchy, but if you manage to get it, it's a huge surplus of experience for this stage. Love to see it. Booing and Pontius. Okay, Pontius I definitely recognize the name of. But no, regardless, exceptionally impressive stuff. Mind-boggling. Oh no, oh no. Okay, I'm gonna read Teleport. Hopefully before I fall asleep again, it picks off. Fantastic. Manticore is bad, but so are multiple water moccasins. Jeez Louise. Especially since we're not out of the fire yet. That was just stage 1, surviving that little escapade. I think we have to do this, even though I'm hesitant to make this much noise. Potentially a rough call, but that's fine. And then let's switch over, maybe use like an ice blast or two, just to preserve mana in case something sketchier comes running around the corner right in our face. Nope, let's actually heal up down here for similar reasons. Fantastic. Blast ya, and we leave, and then we blast ya. And we're good. Back in familiar territory as well, which is lovely. Managed to survive another shaft incident, which is always a victory in its own right. It's part of why I come down on the pro-shaft side of the great shaft debate, just because nothing feels much better than successfully making it out of one of those situations. Even a relatively tame one like that feels pretty good. Let's drop our enchant scrolls, I think, because I do kind of want this buckler. And throw that bad boy on right away. And let us stop focusing, dodging, focus shields. At least up to, what is it, 4? 4. We're setting the skill cap on that with the S key. And then we can move on. What stones don't need a place in our inventory anymore. Perfect. You had your max spectate your games a few days back. That's awesome. Always nice when one of the big names go around. That's the thing, most of the really good DCSS players are also fantastic like guides and helpers of the community. If you really want some help with your games, I always see so many offers on places like the subreddit to just do exactly that. Spectate your game, maybe give some tips along the way, if you so desire them at the very least. Pretty fantastic group of individuals. And that includes all of you lovely folk as well. All of the DCSS community. There we go, facing off against our first big herd of Oliphants here. And not too big of an issue whatsoever. Fantastic. Ooh, Ring of Wizardry could potentially be very nice. I'll drop stones again, and then I accidentally just pick them up immediately. How about this? Let's kill the Basilisk first. That seems prudent. Drop that, pick up the ring, and this time around, go into our auto pickup here, and say no to stones. This character does not need it. The generation potions can also go down. We're carrying around a lot of crap that can probably be thrown out at the moment. But I'm going to keep pushing that problem off for as long as I can. Just keep procrastinating it until there's just no option but to do some management. It's worked out so well for us in the past. Why change anything now? And just a little bit more magic. Poison one of you, poison the other one. Fantastic. And that should just about do the trick. In fact, it do that. Well, alrighty, definitely going a heck of a lot smoother than poor old Tengu. As much as I loved Tengu, fantastic character, they struggled real hard. Ever since the Summon Ice Beast was removed from the Ice Elementalist starter book, they've been in a bit of a rough spot, depending on your luck in the early sections of the dungeon. I guess luck and the decisions you make, because I was also probably just absolutely burning through resources in that run in general. The steam created by Fireball over water is deceptively strong. Very nice, yeah. Fireball is gone too. Fireball in 0.28, they got rid of Fireball in the Fire Elementalist start. Interesting. I guess they would have replaced it with something, correct? Oh, there are new spells, aren't there? I was pretty sure Fire Elementalist got some new love here. Definitely use the Ice Wand to just finish off that fight before I pilot myself into a tricky situation. Yeah, Fireball and Sticky Flame got replaced by new spells, I believe, correct? Even though I feel like most of the feedback I've heard about them is positive, correct? People are pretty big fans of the new Fire Elementalist spells. Regardless, I'm excited to be checking them out. Yeah, they got level 2 and level 4 spells. Yeah, that is what I thought for sure. That's very cool. Let's blast these sons of guns. Perfect. Scorch is super good. Ooh, love to hear it. I mean, hey, as long as they didn't touch Foxfire, and if they added some nice powerful spells on top of that, then I'm a huge fan, because I already think Fire Elementalist starts are super consistent and strong, and would love to see more of that. Let's just throw all of our mana at the problems, since we'll probably just be retreating here. That was also very bad targeting. You want something like that. That's much better. Ooh, I fell asleep at the last moment, but managed to get out of there in time. That could have been a lot sketchier. If I like Foxfire, I'll love it. Ignis. Again, I've just heard too many good things. I'm unreasonably excited to try out Ignis. Trying my best not to use up all their power either. That's going to be my annoying self-inflicted rule that the new version of the game brings. Is me trying my very best to save Ignis. One thing that I read a couple people talking about that I definitely feel on my side is the idea that you want a headcanon, that if you keep with Ignis and you escape the dungeon with the Orb of Zot, you bring the Orb of Zot to Ignis's altar in the real world, and you revive, you resuscitate their energies using the power of Zot. And I like that headcanon. Makes Ignis slightly less depressing than they currently are. I think I will hit you once or twice just to finish the job. Perfect. Scorch removes fire resistance and does damage. Ooh, nice. So some way of dealing with some of the trickier fire-resistant enemies in the game. Love it. Let's go back to this stair, since those two are now kind of sketchy, to say the least. Harpies pretty much just get immediate fireballs, but I probably will run away for now. In fact, are there any safe stairwells? Apparently not. I think I'd rather fall asleep and then get blasted than the alternatives. Not too bad. A little bit sketchy now, especially getting barbed, but can definitely take the damage to run upstairs, get away from the sea snake before anything terrible happens. 2 Foxfires, and at 24 Foxfires is better. Oh geez, just out of control. Absolutely wild. Ah, that's layer 6 I'm exploring. So let's actually pump the brakes for a moment. There's no need to put ourselves into a tizzy here. Let us instead decide between checking out our S branches temporarily or heading out to the regular dungeon. Nice thing about the regular dungeon is that we do have See Invisible at our disposal here. So that's quite nice. If we recall though, D10 has a 2-headed ogre and a centaur warrior that we need to keep in mind. Let's not forget that those are there waiting for us, pop down the stairs and get a surprise one-shot adventure. That doesn't sound very nice. So instead, let's go out to D9, shall we? And let's see, new unexplored stairwell sounds nice to me this time of year. Hello, my gargoyle friend. We'll just blast you real quick. Yak probably gets similar treatment. I guess we don't really need to. We can kind of just fight you the old-fashioned way. Perfect. And the bees and gnolls can definitely get the regular old routine of Foxfire here. Shouldn't be too much trouble. If we get swarmed by too many, we can, of course, just throw out a single fireball, really clear the air. Fantastic. Oh my gosh, what a bad sergeant. You should really lead your warriors into battle. You should have seen what they did. Without your leadership, they were just absolute idiots. Also, some weird hockey stuff there. I've always been meaning to figure that out, because if you have this and then you hit one of the numbers at the top row of your keyboard, I feel like it shoots out automatically like that. So it must be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 maybe? Something like that. Would be useful to use in the future if I actually did it on purpose instead of just accidentally shooting my wad in the wrong direction. But all in all, can't complain too much. Oh my gosh, what's in here? You can't show me a slimy hat and not make me desperately curious. Okay, leave it for now. But let's remember it's there. Fire versus fire, hey? Neither of us are resistant. Ignis made Polytheist harder. Because with Polytheist, are there any like strictures about do you need to be at full piety when you win the game or something like that? That's actually one of the achievements that I'm a little less familiar with. Seeing as how I'm just focused on the first base level now of Great Player, I can get to Greater Player and Polytheist down the road if I see fit. Okay, not good odds of Mesmerize going through. I think we can just blast you. Play it safe. Why don't we do something like this? Maggie, you fool. Perfect. Love to see it. Fantastic. Swamp Dragon Scales are kind of interesting. Give us a nice little boost of AC as well as poison resistance. As long as everything's still castable with these, I'm very much interested. Ultimate Prism at 4% is the one to mainly look out for. Let's check it out, shall we? Everything else still fully castable. I do love that. Could potentially even just throw dodging to go to a max of 11, focus it, and let's start training a little bit of armor in the background. Just so we can wear heavier and heavier armor as the game progresses here. Make sure that we're staying safe out there. Let's open this. Beautiful. Not beautiful. Stop that. That's not allowed. Fortunately, Reflection did a decent amount of work there. It's funny because I was actually potentially thinking of switching out our necklaces before coming down here. Seeing Visible gets pretty useful at D11 and beyond. At least generally those levels and beyond. Hopefully you don't run into a D10 Unseen Horror. That sounds like an absolute nightmare. So it just makes Polytheist harder because the altars of Ignis are rare. You think the only guaranteed way is to get Ignis at the start with the Cinder Acolyte. That makes sense though. You just have to play as a Cinder Acolyte then though, right? That's the be-all end-all. Okay, I shouldn't check out that vault yet, but I'm very tempted to. The only reason why I'm not gonna, at the very least, try and sneak in and grab that slimy hat is because we are wearing the hat of the Bear Spirit, and it's pretty sweet. We have quite the look going on right now, at least very color matched, very on point in terms of overall aesthetic, so can't hate on that too much. Just blast that wraith real quick. Not too shabby here. As we continually identify more and more things. I guess I don't really need to fireball you if you're a zombie. Though I have lived to regret such thoughts before. In fact, I think it was specifically a melee zombie that almost killed one of our previous iterations. Not too bad. Not today, friend. You can always try and leave fated altars to go for at the end of a game, but that's not reliably Angus. That actually sounds like a fun strat. Just try and worship someone right at the end of your game. See who you get. Does allow for a certain level of freedom. The only issue is that, I guess, yeah, you could just abandon right before you escape the dungeon. Switch over to someone new. Does that actually work for getting the Polytheist achievement, or is there some extra precaution thrown in there that I'm missing? An extra stricture or subtle part of the ruling that wouldn't let you cheese it to that extent, at the very least. As I just continually tap tab against a bunch of centaur zombies. Not my ideal enemy, just because unless they're at a distance, there's not a whole lot we can do to hit them, but not the end of the world either. Just slowly but surely work our way through the problem. Similarly, these bees could be an absolute nightmare for a fire elementalist in a hallway like this. That's generally the nightmare situation. But if you have enough mana to just keep blasting fireballs down at them one at a time, not quite as nasty as could otherwise be expected. I'm surprised we are not running out of magic. Like, I know Bahamut is repaying some of our costs, but geez Louise, that seems unreasonable. Hello, friend. Goodbye. Ah, there's the queen themselves, finally. That should be fairly indicative that we're coming to the end of things. Have to make sure we keep blasting before they get too close. Will I get one more shot? Maybe not. So let's instead pull out the cold wand. Not too shabby. With the genie or evil species, 1 in 23 chance to get Ignis, 122 if you killed Chihuahua first. Those aren't bad odds. Not great for sure. I can see why you wouldn't want to necessarily rely on that by any stretch of the imagination, but you could get there eventually with a few attempts, a few runs. It's like what I was saying earlier. At some point, it just becomes a pure number game. As long as you're willing to put forward the effort to just continually try, you'll get there eventually, regardless. Hello, my stony friend. Goodbye. And what else do we get? Poisonous Vapors. It's not bad. I guess we could take Irania's Toxic Bog and use that with Ignite Poison. That's going to take a lot of training to get castable, if I had to guess. So, on second thought, maybe not so much of an option. Hello, friend. You might hurt really bad, but as long as we take you out immediately after, or like that, that works too. Fantastic. Ooh, an Amulet of Regeneration I'm very much interested in. Maybe get rid of boomerangs for the time being, and we can carry that around while I decide what we wish to do. I have 1 pip of cold resistance, and are you vulnerable to fire? You're not. That would be too easy, hey? Can still output a lot of damage like this, though. In fact, that should just about do the trick. Fantastic. Goodbye, Fanar. And the +2 robe, not as necessary as it was until very recently, just because I like the Swamp Dragon scales. Finally, we get our scrolls of Blinking ID'd. Shows how well this run is going that I didn't even notice that we were lacking that until just now. There'd be quite a few runs where I would have had many opportunities of blindly reading scrolls trying to hit exactly that already by this stage in the game. Not too bad. You run into the Chaos Cloud and get slowed. Interesting. which species do I struggle with the most? Tengu is my joke answer because we have been struggling a whole lot trying to get through this. Lost many good birds out there. Many good birds. But in general, I do feel like melee species, or species that really aren't good with magic, are ones that I struggle with. As of late, I've been very much a spellcaster first kind of player, and I feel like I play a lot more consistently well, especially in the middle to later part of the game. Had a Tengu get 10 good. Finally somebody says it. I've been lost as to how to improve, but that's all I needed. I just needed a little bit of a kick in the butt. Just get good, forehead. You absolute genius, you. But yeah, in general, spellcasters I feel pretty comfortable with. But we'll see, because there are a few species that I've never actually played, and once we get to those, I might ascribe whole new meanings of the phrase struggle with a species. So we'll have to see when the time comes whether we can do anything. Oops, that's the wrong spell. I need to just take that off my macro quick binds here, otherwise I feel like that's going to be a regular occurrence. And that's the kind of mistake we don't want to make later on when we're one shot away from dead. That seems rough. Less than ideal is potentially the nice way of putting it. Should also manually aim our fireballs a little bit more often just to make sure that they're getting through to crucial targets. Was tempted to try and force trying to get the priest in a fireball, but I think I'll just kill the warrior for now. Oh, more priests. Hello. You know what? Fine. I'll do it myself. Perfect. Bunch of howler monkeys. Hello, friends. Should be able to take all of you buddies out without too much trouble. Fantastic. And swear to you. Perfect. So I guess rather than me just spinning my gears about what I think I struggle the most with, I would say that this current Tengu run, and when we were doing Halfling back in 0.26, those were probably when I struggled most and had the most failed runs. Palantonga was up there because that kind of falls under the category of melee-based characters, and with the flip side or the added addition of not having good armor options unless you get lucky with an early barding. So those low defense melee-based characters probably anecdotally where I struggle the most. Or apparently halflings and tengus. Because I rely on dodging, maybe. I believe in the power of the dodge for slightly longer than I should and immediately pay the price for it. Get hit by the repercussions.